beneath the weight. It started on a Thursday. Lena had just moved into a small apartment above a bookstore in Salem, Massachusetts. The kind of place that smelled of dust and forgotten paperbacks, with creaky floors and a skylight that leaked when it rained. It was cheap, cozy, and available, the perfect trifecta for someone freshly laid off and starting over. The first night was uneventful. Just the settling of old wood and the muffled sound of pages flipping below. The landlord, an older man named Mr. Doran, lived on the ground floor and kept mostly to himself. He warned her about the skylight and the unpredictable radiator but said nothing about the bedroom. He should have. On her third night, Lena woke to darkness, a pressing, heavy kind of darkness. Her eyes were open, but she couldn't move. Not even a finger. It felt like something was sitting on her chest, a weight that pulsed with breath. Her heart raced, and her mind screamed, but her body refused to respond. And then, she saw it. At the foot of her bed stood a figure. Too tall, too still. A silhouette darker than the room around it. Its head tilted unnaturally to the side, like a question mark. It didn't move, didn't speak, but Lena felt its presence like a scream buried under layers of silence. She tried to close her eyes, to will herself awake, and then, just as suddenly, she could move. Gasping, crying, she sat up in the bed, drenched in sweat. She didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next day, she brushed it off as a nightmare. She even Googled it. Sleep paralysis, the internet said. Harmless. Common. A trick of the brain between REM sleep and waking. But the internet didn't feel the cold breath on her neck. The internet didn't hear the whisper that came next time. Let me in. That voice was the sound of dry leaves dragging across stone, and it stayed with her even as she walked to the store, even as she bought coffee and pretended everything was normal. Lena stopped sleeping. Or tried to. But exhaustion is cruel. It doesn't care if you're afraid. It creeps up on you, slow and patient, until one moment you're blinking at your phone, and the next, you're frozen in your bed again. The figure always appeared in the same place. Sometimes it was closer. Sometimes its neck bent so far, she thought it might snap. Other times it crawled. Slowly. Like a broken spider. And always that voice. Let me in. One night, during a storm that howled through the alley behind the bookstore, she felt it touch her. Long, cold fingers tracing her cheek. Her breath caught in her throat. She tried to scream, but only air escaped. When it released her, she bolted out of bed, grabbed her phone, and dialed the only person she could think of, her sister, Ava. Ava drove in from Boston the next morning. You're pale, Ava said, hugging her. Have you even been eating? I'm not crazy, Lena whispered. It's real. I can't move when it happens. And it talks to me. It touches me. Ava stayed the night, promising to keep her company, maybe help her relax. They watched TV, drank chamomile tea, and joked about how this was just some old house charm. At 3:12 a.m., Lena woke up unable to move. But Ava did. Ava sat up slowly in the corner of the room, face expressionless, eyes wide. And then Ava began to speak, not in her voice, but in that dry, leaf-dragging whisper. You're letting me in. Lena's scream was silent. Her tears weren't. When morning came, Ava remembered nothing. I must have been sleepwalking, she said. You were probably dreaming. Lena packed a bag and left the apartment. She booked a motel outside of town. Sterile white sheets, buzzing light fixtures, and thin walls. It was ugly, But it wasn't home. She didn't sleep. The paralysis came again. But this time, it wasn't in the room. It was in the mirror. The bathroom light flickered, and there it was, not behind her, but within the glass. Its hands pressed against the inside of the mirror, and its mouth opened. "You brought me with you." Lena checked out at dawn. Desperate, she returned to the bookstore. She needed answers. She needed something. Mr. Doran wasn't surprised to see her. "I wondered how long you'd last," he muttered. "They never stay long." "What is it?" Lena asked, her voice shaking. "There's something in this place. Something old. Older than me, older than this town. It waits in the corners of sleep. It feeds on attention, on fear. Every time someone tries to ignore it, it gets closer." He slid an old book across the counter. Leather-bound. No title. They called it The Sleeper in the Hollow. It was a legend, until it wasn't. People say if you acknowledge it too much, it comes into your waking life. But if you fight it, if you stay awake long enough, it finds new ways in. Lena didn't take the book. She ran. But the thing ran faster. Now, even in the daylight, she sees it. Reflected in windows. Flickering in the edges of her phone screen. Whispering through static. She hasn't slept in 4 days. Doctors have told her she's hallucinating. Her body is shutting down. She's on the edge of collapse. But Lena knows the truth. It doesn't matter where she goes. It's not the apartment. It's her. She let it in. And it's waiting. The next time she falls asleep, it won't whisper. It will speak her name. And when she can't scream anymore, it will wear her face and walk into someone else's dream. Thank you for watching, but beware, some stories never truly end.